and welcome back to Two Balding Nerds. My name is Kellen,
Hey, my name is George.
and for this episode, we're going to be talking about the new trailer, the teaser trailer for The Lord of the Rings that just aired today on January 19th.
I can definitely say I don't know much about this, but I'm excited about where this could be going.
Yeah, you know what it kind of reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of the prologue in Fellowship of the Ring, which is honestly one of my favorite parts of the entire series because it gives you an in-depth kind of, albeit quick, explanation of why the One Ring is so significant.
Well, they were essentially just reciting the it's kind of the poem of the Lord of the Rings. Like the thing that they were quoting is an actual I thought was fully written on the ring, but it's and this is a part the part that got me so excited is like my grandfather is a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings. He introduced me to the books. And he read them to me as a child too. And the first thing I can actually remember about the Lord of the Rings, because I was more of a fan of The Hobbit, was this the exact thing they quoted from the trailer, the three rings for elven kings under the sky, seven for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, nine for the mortal men doomed to die, and one for the dark lord and his dark throne in land of Mordor where shadows lie. And that quote and that in particular got me excited just hearing them say those words out loud because the only thing they ever quoted from the movies was the one ring to rule them all section of that. So hearing them say that and with the knowledge that it's going to be about the time before when those peoples were essentially tricked and given those rings is so interesting because I think the Silmarillion has some information about that, or it would have to be one of the many other token books that kind of go back into the lore of it that have really the information about this time in Tolkien history.
So, would it be safe for me to assume that you, being somebody who does not have an Amazon Prime membership, that trailer there has won them your money?
Not quite. It's close, but I would say my personal opinion is because of just how much, just to be completely honest, I adored the Lord of the Rings movies. They were fantastic. And my favorite book of all time is The Hobbit. And I hated the Hobbit movie. There was some parts that were or movies. There's some parts that were good, but a 160-page book turned into three movies was not a good idea. And I know it's not the same people directing it, but I go, that was such a colossal disaster in my opinion that I s- I'm a little bit cautious about jumping back into the Lord of the Rings. I'm excited that it could be something that I never thought of that they could take an angle on, and I am once again vague on the details of that time frame, but it's not quite good enough for me to say, yeah, shut up and take my money. Maybe a few more trailers could convince me, but at this point, I'm going. You have piqued my interest, and I'm willing to give you a shot, but I'm not spending money yet until I have more details.
Okay. I think New Line Cinema, I might be wrong, was the one that was putting out the Hobbit movies, and this is completely owned and operated by Amazon now.
Yes, it's great. New Line Cinema did Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Okay. So, what I read a while back, and people, again, feel free to fact check me, always feel free to fact check me, but I think I read something somewhere, I don't recall where, stating that this Lord of the Rings series, like per episode, was going to have a bigger budget than episodes of Game of Thrones had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like Amazon is taking this very seriously, and Amazon, of course, well worth over $1 trillion. They're throwing money at this hand over fist. So I have high hopes that the production value will be very high. I'm hoping that they learn from the mistakes that were made in The Hobbit and that they don't rely on CGI as heavily. I want to see, men in costumes for the orcs with makeup and stuff like that. It just looks so much more realistic and grounded than The Hobbit did.
Mhm. Overall, I would even dare say I find it funny just thinking about. I don't want to turn this too much into a bashing of the Hobbit movie, but I go like the Hobbit was such a small, kind of short, sweet story of, as Bilbo put it, as there and back again. That was the story. Whereas the general Lord of the Rings lore and the depthness of the world that Tolkien created, there's so much that they can go off of, and I go like it does excite me the thought of going like, oh yeah, delving into the three elven kings and the seven dwarf lords who I probably could figure out the elven like someone could tell me the names of the elven the three that elven lords that got or the elven kings who got the rings, and I'd be like, oh yeah, right, I remember that being mentioned. No way I could tell you who the seven dwarf lords are. I do not recall all seven of them at all.
Well, you'd have me beat because I don't know any of the names of any of those characters, and that's why I want to tune into their show. Luckily, my wife has Amazon Prime, so that means that I'll be able to watch it. Either way, I would have subscribed to watch this show for sure. Like I said, the prologue is one of my favorite parts of the Lord of the Rings, and so seeing how everything led up to the One Ring getting created in live action, I think is going to be awesome. I don't know how long this series will last. I'm hoping that they don't milk it again like The Hobbit was.
Mm.
But the trailer I thought was very well shot. What did you think?
Yes, no, the trailer had literally no faults to it. It was one of those perfect, like when they say a teaser trailer, this is how a teaser works. You just tease ever so slightly to get people to raise an eyebrow and go, "Oh, okay, I'm interested. Tell me more." Because, like, yeah, at this point, they have just teased the fact that it's a prequel to Lord of the Rings. That's it. And I go, perfect. That's all you need. Because technically, the prequel to Lord of the Rings is The Hobbit, but this is going to be on a much grander scale because we know little bit of the story of this with the battle of I guess, the Battle of Mordor, where Isildur cut the ring off of Sauron's hand. So we know how the story is going to end, essentially, with kings and the dwarfs and the elves there, essentially. But seeing how they were beforehand, that will be interesting because there's also like old lore way before the creation of the rings too that could be touched on in this universe and kind of brought up in general.
Yeah, I would personally like to see them delve a little bit into Sauron's past, because he started off as an angel, right? Or was he a god? I can't remember.
If I, no, he wasn't a god. His master was the god, and he was kind of like just his
Yeah.
apprentice or something like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those like fall from grace sort of stories. So I'd be interested if they delved into that a little bit. But I wanted to quickly go back to talking about how the trailer was shot. So my first impression when I watched that trailer was that it was all done via CGI, but I was pleasantly mistaken in that it was actually a lot of it was practical shots. They actually
Hmm.
did melt down, I don't know, I'm assuming probably like aluminum or something like that, and they poured molten metal on this like wood frame that had like engraved the title, The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, had it engraved, and they actually poured this molten metal into the engraving. I thought that was pretty cool, and they used a smoke machine and
Hmm.
all that.
No, right, yeah, no, I thought it was all CGI in all honesty.
Yeah, just it was very well shot, and I'm hoping that's kind of like a sign of what's to come with the series, more practicality and beautiful cinematics. That's really what I'm hoping for.
I can definitely say what I'd hope for is I really do hope for more of a fleshing out of the Lord of the Rings world, and I can also say I look forward to like the New Line Cinema Lord of the Rings films. The music in it is just absolutely beautiful, and it's stayed with me ever since I've seen the films. I hope they have the rights to use some of that, and also some of the old actors. There's only a couple that can actually join in, but some of the old actors from the original joined this film too, because one of the Elven Kings is, or technically queens, is Galadriel. She has a ring of power. She clearly should be in this one, and she's been very well established in the other movies. So I'm wondering if she would be able to reprise her role.
And then probably Elrond too, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah,
Technically, Legolas would be there too, because I can't remember how old he is, but he's been around forever.
true, true. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see some returning faces, but yeah, how are you feeling about this? Are you excited, or I feel like you're excited.
Oh yes, I'm excited. I'm excited and exceedingly hopeful. From what I understand, Amazon Prime has been okay. I don't recall anything that came out from Amazon Prime that was like, you must get Amazon Prime to see this show. Like, there were things that were good that people recommended, so it's not been a disaster by any stretch of the means. Heck, it's, like I said, been completely tolerable and decent. But I'm hoping that this is a no, no, like this is something you gotta get Amazon Prime. You gotta watch this thing. This is amazing. You sit down, watch it. It's a cultural phenomenon kind of idea. I'd be thrilled if it hits that level.
Well, there is one show on Amazon Prime right now, but I don't blame you for not knowing it. It wouldn't be something that's on your radar. It's a show called Yellowstone, and it's basically I want to say it's kind of like The Godfather meets, I don't know, The Wild West. It's a show. It's kind of more country focused, and there's, it's more of a drama. So that's one show that's on Amazon Prime that like a lot of people, it's, I believe it's won quite a few awards too, and I've watched some of it myself, and it is very engaging. But yeah, it's not something that would probably be on your radar.
But yeah, no, Lord of the Rings wise, I'm always happy to hear about more Lord of the Rings stuff, and I'm interested to see exactly what they do. So hopefully it's really good, and I'll definitely take a look into it.
All right, yeah, me too. All right, with that being said, we're going to wrap this video up. So let us know what you guys think of the teaser trailer. Are you excited for this? What are your expectations? What are your hopes and dreams? And yeah, let us know how you feel about the trailer. And we will see you guys next time.
See you next time. Let us know if you think this show will be really precious.